This is Carl. I'm here with my dad at the Caps Blue Jackets game, and you're watching Post to Post.
Hello and welcome to Post, the channel where we discuss all things hockey and all teams. And after watching the Toronto game last night against the Columbus Blue Jackets, I said, man, I gotta film a video about Frederik Andersen because, oh my god, he is the new Carey Price. And the Carey Price that we used to know is not the same Carey Price anymore. Frederik Andersen is keeping this team well above where they should be in the standings. I don't want to talk too much about the numbers, but I'm going to get into them a little bit, and I want to talk about his contenders and if he can win the Vezina, because right now, he's way up here. He could be the front runner for the Vezina. So just stick around with me. I have some nice things to say about him, but not so nice things to say about his team. It's not that bad, trust me. So in wins, he's second. He's got 29 wins. The only goalie ahead of him in wins is Vasilevsky with 33, I believe. In save percentage, he's 10th. In goals against, he's 23rd. So if you look at the save percentage and goals against standings, those numbers are important, but there's so much to the story outside of those numbers. And I'm going to show you a little bit in this video. Shutouts, he's 7th. He has got 4 shutouts. Games played, he's first. He's tied for first, 49 with Lundqvist. Shots against. Here's where it gets interesting. If you look at the shots against and the saves. So shots against, he's first in the league, and by first I mean he's received the most shots. 1,667 shots against. Lundqvist with 1,510, both in 49 games. So that's 157 shot difference. Same amount of games, 49, but 157 shot difference. So if we do some math, if we take the average of shots per game, just what would an average goalie face per game? It's about 30. So 30 goes into 157, like 5 times or something like that. So basically, Andersen is receiving an additional 5 games of shots and the same amount of games played as Lundqvist. That's pretty remarkable. That tells you a lot about Andersen and a lot about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Saves. He's first in the league. 1,537 saves. Lundqvist is second, again. 1,387 saves. So if you've been paying attention, Andersen has more saves than the next goalie has shots against. So Henrik Lundqvist has 1,510 shots against him. Andersen has 1,537 saves. So Andersen has 27 more saves than any other goalie has shots. That's remarkable. It really is remarkable. It just shows you how important to the team that Andersen is. It shows you how irresponsible the Toronto defense is. Sometimes they do a lot of puck watching, and I'm allowed to say that because I'm a fan of the greatest puck watching team in the National Hockey League, which is the Montreal Canadiens. So they need some help. I've heard rumors of a 3-way deal between the Rangers, maybe Carolina, and Toronto, where McDonough would go to Toronto and Nash would go somewhere else, and it's complicated. I don't think there's any truth to it, but Toronto needs a little bit more help on the defensive end. Polak is. Do we really have to talk about Polak? I don't want to bash him continuously and every time I talk about Toronto, but they need some help back there. So if we look at the other contenders in the league, so if we're talking about Vezina right now, if we look at the other contenders in the league and the definition, or not really definition, but the Vezina is awarded to the goaltender who is adjudged to be the best at his position. So let's ask ourselves this question. Is Andersen the best goalie in the National Hockey League right now? In my opinion, he is. I know he's 23rd in goals against. I know he's 10th in save percentage or whatever. But it's more about the quality of shots he's getting and the complete onslaught of shots that he's getting. He's not just making positional saves. he's making positional saves, and he's making unbelievable, incredible, acrobatic saves that really the average goalie just cannot make. And when he came into Toronto, he had confidence issues. I think he had some confidence issues at the beginning of this year as well. He seems to start a little slow. But I mean, if you've spent any amount of time watching Toronto this season, and just more importantly recently in the last 13 to 15 games, he's been unbelievable. Truly unbelievable. And like I said, just the quality of shots that he faces is more than what you would expect from a goalie. So he's, like a lot of goalies make positional saves because they know where to be at the right time. That's what goaltending is all about. He's making those saves, and then he has to deal with the secondary chances from those saves. So he'll make a nice save, and there'll be a small rebound. Maybe they'll take the offensive player will take that puck, wrap it around the net, and he'll be on the other side of the net with that leg so quick. He's stopping one-timers. His lateral movement is maybe the best in the league right now. It's really special. So I know that the Vezina isn't about which goaltender is most important to his team. It's which goaltender is best at his position. But in my personal opinion, Andersen is the best at his position currently right now, and probably in the last 2 months of the NHL, maybe 3. And it's tough to say that as a Canadiens fan, but it's the truth. It really is the truth. If you've watched any amount of time, if you've spent any amount of time watching Toronto, you'll feel the same way, in my opinion. So we look at his contenders around the league. I'm going to give you my opinion on each one, and if I think they're a contender or not, and basically why. So Marc-Andre Fleury, 25 games played. He's been unbelievable when he's been here, but he's played basically half of the games that Andersen has. I don't think the NHL will award the Vezina to a goaltender who has played basically half the amount of games that maybe some of the top tier, or not, I won't say top tier, that's not fair. Some of the more played goalies, I guess that's how I will word it. So I don't think Fleury is a contender for the Vezina based on the amount of games he's played. Crawford, in the same situation, he's only played 28 games. He's injured currently. It's really unfortunate for the Chicago Blackhawks. But same situation. I don't think that he can be in the conversation due to his lack of time on the ice, basically. And he hasn't been too consistent. He's been good this year, but he hasn't been great. And the team in front of him definitely hasn't been great. Tuukka Rask, 37 games played, so he's in that range of, the majority of the games played for a team. I do think you definitely have to consider Rask to be a contender for the Vezina. He's been rock solid basically his entire career since he came to Boston, and his numbers are good. But I think a lot of his numbers have, I want to say a lot. There's a huge contributing factor to his numbers, and that's the team in front of him. Whereas Toronto and Andersen, the team in front of Andersen isn't as good as the team in front of Rask. So Rask's numbers are affected a bit by the team in front of him. Pekka Rinne, he's been unbelievable this year too for Nashville. He's just been so rock solid. It's crazy. He's definitely in the conversation, definitely a contender. 41 games played. Vasilevsky, definitely a contender. 47 games played, most wins in the NHL. Great team in front of him, but if you've watched Tampa Bay for any amount of time as well, you'll know that Vasilevsky isn't just doing well because of the team in front of him. He's doing well because he's a fantastic goaltender. Connor Hellebuyck, 47 games played. Yeah, absolutely. He's kind of in the situation that Andersen is a little bit, not so much, but I think Winnipeg's the better team depth-wise. But there's been times where they've been totally out of a game, and Hellebuck's completely kept them in the game. So, yeah, I think you have to put him in the conversation. Gibson for Anaheim, 43 games played. He's been good. He's kept the team in games quite a bit. I wouldn't consider him to be a Vezina contender or candidate. Sorry, that's probably the better word. But he's probably on the bubble, I guess, if you want to say that. He has the potential to sneak into contender because Anaheim's kind of a late season team. You should be worried about Anaheim. Just saying. Dubnyk, I would not consider him a contender. He's played 39 games, so he's played quite amount of games, but I wouldn't consider him to be a Vezina candidate. He's too inconsistent, unfortunately. Bobrovsky, I think you have to consider him. He's the only reason that Columbus is where they are. I did a video about that a couple of weeks ago. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. Bobrovsky is unbelievable. So yeah, he has to be in conversation. Jonathan Quick, 43 games played. I just feel like he's been really inconsistent this year, so I would keep him off of my candidate list. Lundqvist, 49 games played. He's been the rock of that team. He has to be in conversation for sure. Same with Holtby, 42 games played. Holtby's been very good. Kind of a bit of under the radar this year, but yeah, I would have him in my conversation. Allen, definitely not. Unfortunately, he's my favorite player. I hate to say that he can't be in the conversation, but he's just too inconsistent. He's played 40 games, so good amount of games for Allen, actually. That surprises me. It's more games than I thought he would have more games than I thought he had played this year. Price. That's funny. Bishop, 43 games played. No, I don't think he gets in the conversation for the Vezina. Too inconsistent. Good goalie, too inconsistent. I like to see another year from Bishop. I think he has potential in a couple years to be maybe in that Vezina conversation. He just has to have a little bit more confidence, a little bit more consistency. Smith, one of the only reasons that the Calgary Flames are where they are. I think they're third in the Pacific right now. But he's looked shaky at times. He's been just an absolute star at times, but then really shaky at times. Not as inconsistent as Dubnyk or Quick, but still a little shaky. Matt Murray is the last on my list. 37 games played. The opinion of Matt Murray that I have is that he's a very solid goaltender. I feel like he plays really well in games that matter a lot, and not so well in games that don't really matter against teams that aren't really that competitive. I think that's proven in the playoffs. He can get it. He can get the job done when the time is right. But currently, I would not consider Murray to be a Vezina candidate. If you disagree with any of my decisions there, that's totally fine. Let me know down in the comments and make an argument for your favorite goaltender or whatever goaltender you want to argue for. I'd love to hear your arguments down below in a positive and respectful way, please. This is a conversation, so let's be respectful. We're all hockey fans. And let me know down in the comments how you feel about Andersen. Do you agree with me that he is probably the front runner for the Vezina, or let me know if you at least agree with me that he is in the conversation for Vezina. Maybe not the front runner, but at least conversation. Let me know down below. And have you guys been watching Toronto recently? I want to put it out there that as a Canadiens fan, I don't want to tell you to go watch Maple Leafs games because that's hard to say, but if you want to watch good hockey, you have to watch Toronto right now. They're doing really well. The game they played against Nashville a couple of days ago was really, really great. The game against Columbus last night was good. It's just exciting hockey. It's not the boring defensive hockey that we see in teams sometimes. It's the high-flying, high-scoring, really exciting hockey. So if you get a chance, please watch Toronto. If you get a chance, please don't watch Montreal because they're terrible. Thanks, guys, for watching this video. I appreciate it. If you liked it, hit the like button. If you're new here, hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.